Yes. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum. I'm your host, Nick Deus. Nick Deus 10 is where you can find me. Veteransminimum.com is where you can find the show. If you are a member of the Patreon, you are listening to this show earlier than the rest of you are listening to this show, as because it's a holiday weekend, I recorded this in advance. And because it is NBA season time, the NBA is fast approaching. I had to get my guy on. And especially after I gave him some winning bets, I know he'd be happy to come through and get on the pod.
Goat.
Let's go. My guy, Teddy, Nick Dunbar, is in the building. What's good, bro?
Nothing much, bro. We had a great afternoon. Soccer goat, bro. You gave some winners, bro. Some real nice winners. So I'm excited about that. But more excited about the upcoming basketball season for sure.
Yeah, man. Every time that I've had you on the show, people are like, yo, you got to get Nick back on. You got to get Nick back on. And you're my guy when it comes to NBA. I always like how, even this, like pulling the curtain back a little bit. I just hit you up. I was like, yo, are you free in a half hour, man? Because something got dropped on me. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. So it's the top 5 storylines heading into this season, right? And to me, I always like asking this when it comes to talking about an upcoming season. And I know it's a very generic question to ask, but what's your level of interest in this NBA season? Because I have an answer that I think might surprise you.
Okay. I'm really excited. I feel like I'm very biased too, especially you ask a fan like myself, I'm like a diehard NBA fan. And I'll watch the random game on a Wednesday night that's meaningless, you know what I mean? I always tell you this too and our friends. In terms of sports and like leagues in general, I think the NBA has the most star power. There's no other league that can compare with that. Like I said, a random Tuesday or Wednesday night, you'll have the Lakers play the Clippers, and you have like 6 All-Stars on the floor at the same time. It's like a mini All-Star game. You know what I mean? I'm really excited, to be honest with you. There's a lot of storylines throughout the off season that I want to see how they play out. There was a lot of trades that went down that were a little bit head scratching. The Timberwolves in particular, that I'm sure we're going to talk about. That I want to see how they play out and how they planned on those things to work.
I totally agree with you about the star power thing. The one thing that I can't wait for is I really think with me being out here in the West Coast now and the start times, I'm very excited to be able to watch games at night and not end. Like halftime of some of those night games would be at like 11:45, midnight, and I was waking up super early to go to work, and it'd be hard, man. It'd be hard. But now it's like those games are going to be at 8:30, right? 7:30.
Just rub it in my face.
Yeah, that's listen, man. I used to have shouts to my guy Chris Moorhan. He's been on the pod before, and he was like my Vegas connect. He was my Vegas plug, and he would always tell me, like, he'd FaceTime me and be like, dude, you got to come out here, bro. It's way better in the West Coast. And now I'm relaying that same message to all of you guys back home, which is funny. But dude, on a serious note, man, I used to say that shit all the time. How it's dope. Did. Sunday night football, the games would end, and I went to the gym on Sunday because I just had nothing to do. I didn't know what to do with myself. I had all this time, and I'm like, yo, it's 8:15. Like, what's up? So I just went and got a workout in. So I'm really excited, and I think it's going to be the most NBA that I consume in a very, very long time. Like, I already re-upped my league pass because now first of all, I'm going to need to because of the Knicks, right? Like, I can't watch the Knicks locally out here.
That's right. That's right. MSG, right?
So I have to get league pass, and I'm excited, dude. And I know before I said that I had a take that like might surprise you, but yo, I really think that this is the most wide open we've had like an off season heading into a season. I think there's like 12 teams that could win a title this year.
I agree. I agree completely.
That's why I think it's like super interesting, bro. Like off the top of my head, I'm not going to name all 12, but like there's like 12 that wouldn't surprise me. There's guys coming back, right? There's new teams that have formed, like a couple trades like we got into. And I think one big storyline heading into this year that we definitely need to talk on is a trade that didn't go down, but I think is going to have some ramifications the rest of the time that he's going to be there. And it got to be the Durant stuff going down in Brooklyn.
Absolutely. Um, it's like, how do you request a trade and then take it back? It's like he's gonna get in the huddle with these guys, and then they're gonna, and I don't think, like, you have Kyrie, guys like that. I don't think they're gonna question him. I think it's more the role players, like, bro, you weren't even gonna be here this offseason. Like, you wanted out. Now you expect me to go to war with you? Kyrie's different because they had a mutual agreement and pact when, Kevin Durant was looking to come to Brooklyn. So it's not more so him and Kyrie. It's the other guys around him that I think the issue, if there is going to be, would be around those guys. I don't think it would be around the two-star players. But I think Durant had a fair point because prior to the trade, they had all these dreams and hopes of getting, joining up, pairing up, and bringing Brooklyn to an NBA Finals. But then, COVID happened. You had the uncertainty with Kyrie not wanting to get vaxxed. You had the Simmons drama when he had came over after the James Harden trade, and him sitting out with all of that drama and the uncertainty with him, and Durant probably just sat back and he's like, yo, you only have so many years in your prime. Do I want to sit through the rest of this and deal with this, or do I go start over somewhere else? And he's skilled to the point where you could probably take him and drop him on any NBA team and they'll instantly become a playoff team. So he probably looked at it like the big picture and he's like, hey, I don't want to sit around and waste any time. And then that's when I think the Nets, realized that they have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity here, and they went and they grabbed him, and they got Kyrie and everyone to get on the same page, and they finally figured it out, which is good and exciting because I want to see them at full strength too. I want to see them with Ben Simmons going to work out. So I think that's pretty interesting, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did.
Yeah, man. The tenure in Brooklyn for them has been a roller coaster. All right. It's been so unfortunate, like the time of injuries. Right, Harden goes down and Kyrie go down in the playoffs 2 years ago when Harden first got there. And then, I know Harden ended up playing, but it was the whole like, yo, if he was a size 13 as opposed to whatever size foot Durant has, they probably beat Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And then you go into the next season and you have Durant coming out the gates on fire. And then you have the Kyrie stuff with the COVID. And then when Durant gets hurt during the season, Harden is like, yo, I came here to play with all these dudes, and now it's basically me back on Houston. Like, I want out. And then he did what he did to get out of town, and he goes to Philly. And then Ben Simmons comes over, and it was like, yo, at one point, are we going to see this dude? And then guess what? We didn't see him at all. So It's going to be interesting to see how they all mesh together because Ben Simmons just needed to be out of Philly, bro. It was a bad relationship.
Toxic.
It was super toxic. Yeah, that was exactly it. It was just like, we just both need a change. Both of us just need a change. And I think both teams are happy with what they got in return. And to me, I think he's such a big wild card, bro. Because if he could fit in with them, because he's not asked to be the man. Like, you weren't the number one overall pick now. You're not a part of the process. Like, now you're more of a, what's the word that I used for when Odell went to, like, you're more of a luxury than you are a necessity, right? Mm-hmm. Like, remember when Odell went to the Rams? You're like, yo, they got Kupp, they got Robert Woods, they got all these guys, and then Woods.
You can just fit in.
Right. But at first it was like, Odell is going to be dope if it works out, but it's all right if he doesn't. But then Woods blows out his knee that same week. And you're looking at it like, yo, now you're a necessity. You're not just a luxury for us. And that's what I feel like it came down to with Ben Simmons.
Mm-hmm. Well, my thing with Ben Simmons is that's a really good comparison with the OBJ. I like that. But the thing is, I think Ben Simmons is going to mean more to the Nets than OBJ meant to the Rams. I mean, granted, OBJ had an incredible season, which propelled them to getting to the Super Bowl and then eventually winning it. Because you see them now without him, right? But anyway, with basketball and Ben Simmons, I think you traded a huge star-powered guy like James Harden. You trade him, you need that production from elsewhere, So I think they are going to rely on Ben Simmons to do not everything James Harden did, but he's going to have to be productive. It's not like he can just sit there and hide like people think. He's a big guy. He can guard well. He's a really good defender. He can rebound. He can pass the ball. He has good court vision. So I look forward to seeing how he's going to fit in with them. But I really think he will be, because at the end of the day, he's a talented basketball player, and guys like Kyrie and KD, who can get a shot, any shot that they want throughout any point of the game. Guys like that, it's great to play with, because they're going to look to feed him early and often to build his confidence up. And then as the game goes on, that's only going to help them, because, you have Ben Simmons being aggressive and attacking, and Kyrie and KD didn't even get started yet. Imagine when they're hot, and then you got Ben Simmons playing with, all-world confidence. It's going to be a tough offense to stop.
One of the storylines that you mentioned to me, and I'll let you introduce it. Well, I'll introduce it, and then I'll let you take it away, was Rudy Gobert. What is it about Rudy Gobert that you want to talk about, and why you think it's a storyline for you? That's your boy, because, right?
Yo, you're a clown for that one. It's more so head scratching. Now you have a team with an all-star center and Cat trades a 4 first-round picks away for another center from another team, an all-star center from another team, plays the same position. Everybody's wondering how they're going to get this to work, or what they have in mind in terms of a game plan. Who's going to play the 4? Who's going to play the 5? You have 2 bigs on the floor like this at the same time. The NBA has gone to this place where anybody on the floor 1 through 5 can shoot. Everyone knows Rudy Gobert can only score in the paint. He struggles guarding people out on the perimeter. So, teams are going to try and go smaller. Teams are going to try and stretch the floor. You saw the Clippers do it to the Jazz 2 playoff series ago. Even the last playoff series, he just... you wonder. I'm just interested to see how it's going to work out.
Well, you mentioned 4 first-round picks is what they gave up. But if you really think about it, it was 5, right? Because, Kessler, that they drafted and then traded as a part of the deal, that's 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert. Which, yo, bro, I used to, I can't pay a center. To me, a center is like a running back in football. I can't pay you big money if you're not a scorer to me. And I know he's amazing defensively and he alters shots and he rebounds. I get all that. But bro, if one of my 3, you have the salary cap, so you can't be paying everyone as much as you want to. But I got a real problem when crunch time and you're down 5, my whole 5-5-5-5 deal, which we'll get to in just a sec with a team I want to talk about. But Rudy Gobert is not a threat to score points for you. And he becomes a liability being out there. And to me, that's a lot to give up for a dude that just can't get buckets.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. You're going to give up 5 first-round picks for a question mark, for something that may work. There's no guarantee that this works. You know what I mean? You literally changed the whole future of your franchise around. Because they hit the nail on the head too with Edwards' draft pick. That kid's going to be an absolute star. I think he's going to be an all-star this year, actually. I think he's going to take a huge leap. Just like LaMelo did last year, I think you're going to see, Edwards had a great season, but I think he's going to have an even better one. You give up 5 first-round picks for something that could potentially work. It's not even set in stone. It's not like you went and got it's something that's not set in stone for someone that's not even a scorer. Like you said, game on the line, I can't even throw the ball to you and get a bucket. You play one end of the floor exceptionally well, and then the other side of the floor is
you're like a borderline role. You're like a role player on the other end.
Yeah. The only time he's really effective scoring is in the pick and roll, really. That's really it. When he's rolling to the basket, catching lobs, or, he's in the paint, posting up.
Yeah.
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 Putbacks, exactly.
So to me, I'll give up all that stuff for an Anthony Davis, right? What the Lakers gave up. That I'm doing, because he's a problem defensively and he's a problem offensively. But to me, it's remember when Andre Drummond first got the bag, that first $100 million contract he got? It's this dude's not out there. He can't even hit free throws. So they're just getting rid of him. They're taking him off the floor. And to me, I can't have that, man. It's just, It's too much. And like you said, you mortgage your future for this. For a move that, like, I get it if you're a team like, if you were a team like the Mavericks, right? And I'm not saying getting Gobert. You're a team like the Mavericks, you're a team like the Suns, you're a team like the Celtics, and you mortgage your future and you're able to keep your stud players and you go and get another all NBA caliber guy, like, yeah, I don't mind mortgaging the future because I could win right now with you. You ain't doing that with
Right.
Rudy Gobert. At least I don't think so. And from what I'm hearing, it seems like you feel the same way, bro.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just want to see how, because obviously they're going to start them together. So I just want to see how that works, like how teams will adjust and game plan according to that. You know, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Dude, one thing I definitely want to talk to you about, and one of my biggest storylines, and one of my favorite things about creating content, bro, is that you can archive things. You could go back and like re-listen to it, or you could cut a clip from a while back. And shouts to Jarrell Harris from Sports Illustrated, our guy. We've hooped with him, and he comes on the show often. I had told him that this year's Memphis Grizzlies, like, you know how like last year the Grizzlies came out and they were a 2 seed? Well, in 2022, 2023, that team is going to be the Pelicans. I think they have a really good chance at being a top 4 seed. And the reason why I mentioned that thing about content is because I said this when they beat the Suns, when they took the Suns to 6 games. I was like, bro, you're looking at this team. And if they could get Zion back.
Without their best player. Yeah.
Without their best player. And like McCollum, that's like the perfect role for him, right? Like being on that team, like that's the perfect role. And you're looking at this team, bro. They're 50-1 to win the finals. Now I'm talking about from a betting perspective, right? I think they could be a top 4 seed. Zion came back looking just shredded, looks in mad good shape. Like he's been hearing all the jambalaya and all he's doing is eating, and he's like, all right, bet. Watch. Went in there, got yoked up, was blowing by people in that preseason game. Like, bro, I was watching preseason basketball. I've never watched preseason basketball. Just because like it was like, yo, it's 4:30. There's nothing to do on Tuesday. So I'm watching the games, which was amazing, right? And like, yo, I like doing like I said before, I call it the 5-5-5-5 deal, right? It's 4 things that have to do with the number 5. It's game 5. You're down 5. There's 5 minutes left. Who's your 5? And you're looking at their potential like lineup to close out a game. Ingram, Zion, McCollum. Little Herb Jones for you?
Yeah, hell yeah. He's
right?
a stud.
Like he's a stud, right? And then you got like Valanciunas as your big. Like, dude, that's and also like they got guys like what were they calling him? GTA? Jose Alvarado?
Yeah.
They're called, right?
Alvarado,
like, yo, look, he's never gonna be on your fantasy team. He's never gonna like get a monster contract, but that's a guy that could play in the playoffs. And I played him
in FanDuel last year. I definitely played him in FanDuel last year because his steal upside.
Right, daily fantasy. I'm talking about like if you're playing yearly, he's probably like not
yearly.
Like a spot start kind of. But dude, this is a fascinating roster, and I think that they can be really, really interesting heading into the year.
Yeah, they got a really interesting group of guys, all talented bucket getters, dogs. It's going to be interesting. I do like them. I don't think that highly of them, though, because I feel they haven't had enough time to play together yet. And who's going to be that guy on their team? Maybe C.J. McCollum, but he's never really been there, right? You know, he couple first-round bounces. The one year when they beat the Rockets and Damian Lillard hit that shot, and when they beat OKC, I don't remember what round they had gotten to. I think it was the second round, but he hasn't gotten much further than that. Who's going to get that group all on the same page? Who's going to be that veteran leader for them?
They did make a Western Conference Finals when they remember it was that weird. It might not the COVID year. It was the year before the COVID year where they lost to the Warriors. They lost to the Warriors. They beat the Nuggets. Like they had made a Western Conference Finals, and then they got swept by
Did they
Golden
really?
State. Yeah, they made
Oh wow. Okay.
they made the Western Conference Finals, and I remember because
Was
that year the Blazers, they were the first team in NBA history to get swept, despite having 15-point leads in all 4 of those games, like in halftime.
okay.
Like they were up in
hmm
all of those games. So yeah, but you're right though. Like he don't have the championship pedigree, but I think now like he is the grizzled vet on that team. Between like him and Valanciunas, like they're the old heads on that team. And I think they
Right.
could be they could be a team that can make a move at the deadline for another vet, add another piece. But yo, like
hmm
if we think Zion is the Zion that everyone was saying, yo, unanimous number 1 pick, he also got a lot to prove too, bro. Because like John Morant is the talk of the league. Like he's everyone's favorite player now, and he's flashy and he's animated and he's super popping right now. Social media, everyone loves him. Like NBA
hmm
Twitter, that's the point guard for NBA Twitter.
Yeah.
Using your same draft class, bro.
So I just want to see them play together a little bit. Zion didn't get to play with them at all last year. He missed the entire season. You have um, CJ McCollum, who just had gotten there halfway through the season. He got there at the trade deadline towards the middle of the season and only played with that roster half a season. So they all haven't played together yet. So before I go ahead and I say I think I like them for the top 4 seed, I'm going to wait and see on that. But I do have a team out of the West that I think will make a bigger leap this year, and that's Dallas. I'm big on Dallas this year. And Luka and those boys.
Why? Is that a storyline for you with Luka and the Mavericks?
I just think he's going to take an even bigger leap than he already had. I mean, he's a top 5 player in the league, and I think this is the year that he gets, a nice first round easy matchup finally, instead of him having to play the Clippers in the first round, or it'd just be easier for them to have a successful regular season. I actually like them as a dark horse long shot to win the West.
Interesting. Their odds right now, as I pull it up, and this is just like a median average as opposed to like one particular book, but they're 11-1 to win the West, and to win the title, they should be 22-1. Yeah, 24-1. So you actually have a better number on them winning the finals, because that tells me that it's more difficult for them to win the finals than it is to win the West. Like I think they're making it seem that way, that it'd be more, because
he's gonna be last year's Tatum. Tatum.
Yeah. I want to mention one thing about as we start to wind down with a couple of the storylines. I do think that the NBA might be my favorite sport to bet futures in season on. Now, I don't really dabble much. Like I put a lot of my future money is tied to the football, but that's like before Labor Day weekend. And then throughout the season, it needs to be a huge exception for me to like come back down and double down. Like I did last year with Mahomes. I got Mahomes at MVP at like 20-1 odds. And I was looking at their schedule. I was like, dude, they might win like 9 straight games to end the year. They ended up winning 8 of 9 to end the year. And he fell short of the touchdowns that I thought he was going to throw. But like that was because I got the preseason favorite at 20-1, and I'm looking at the schedule. So with the NBA though, like there's certain trades that get made. Obviously you have the injury factor, but then there's also like the roadmap, dude. Like I'm a big believer in, if I could get the 2 seed, then I don't got to worry about the Clippers or the Suns until the conference finals. That's why last year, some of the bets that I made during the season were the Grizzlies to make the conference finals. And then I had Milwaukee to make the conference finals. Both of them didn't happen, but I'm saying just like it's because of the path and the seeding that makes the NBA like super interesting for me, which leads me to Milwaukee. Bro, I think Milwaukee is going to bounce back in a big way. Right now, very early takes. That's who I think wins the title next year. Well, this year. And I really like them signing Joe Ingles. Am I crazy for that?
Yo, I have that written down. No, not at all.
Okay, good. Because, dude, like, they need more shooters, right? Middleton last year got hurt, and
Very
that's
underrated 3-point shooter.
yeah, and that's ultimately why they got bounced out in the playoffs when they did, because they had no Middleton, who like surprisingly, if you pull up StatMuse, just kills the Celtics all the time. Like it's like one of those weird matches which you get in the NBA, right? Like, wasn't it? Didn't someone used to kill Andre Drummond, but like was not like a good center? Like I think it was like it might have been like something like Vucevic. Vucevic used to kill Drummond, but like everyone else, like you would never play. Not that Vucevic is whack, but what I'm saying, like
I was gonna say Vucevic is a stud.
but like in daily fantasy or in fantasy, it'd be like, yo, don't play centers against Drummond, right? Like I'm talking about like peak Drummond. But then Vucevic would drop like 55 FanDuel points on him. And you're like, yo, how the hell does this happen? Right. So that's what I meant by that. But like Middleton just always would kill the Celtics. And like, dude, Giannis, it's like Giannis, Steph, LeBron are like the three best players in the league. And Durant, I'd say like it's them four. And then there's just like a slight drop off. And you get like your Lukas of the world.
I'd include Luka in that.
You put Luka? Yeah, I might be bugging.
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
Right. You're
absolutely.
Right.
And I'd probably put Tatum in that category too. Although his finals series disappointed me, man, because he had quite a run before that.
How do you feel about Milwaukee heading into this year?
I don't know championship, because I do think the Celtics have their number. They had although the Ingles signing does help them with 3-point shooting, there's like a mental edge I think the Celtics have over them in the way they game planned for them and how they defended them and the way they attacked them offensively. I think if they stick to that, it's going to be hard for the Celtics to. It's going to be hard for the Bucks to beat the Celtics. I do think them re-signing Bobby Portis was probably the biggest move that they made all offseason, aside from the Joe Ingles thing, because that's something that they wouldn't be able to replace the toughness. The sixth man, sometimes he would fill in and start because Brook Lopez was injured for an extended period of time. So I want to see how it all plays out. I'm just right now. I have a couple takes. Yeah, I don't want to sit here and say, oh yeah, I think they could win the finals. They're definitely one of the teams. Like how you said in the beginning, everything is wide open right now. Those are definitely one of the teams that you would consider that could win it all. But I still think the Celtics, it's the Eastern Conference that belongs to the Celtics, to be honest with you.
So
I really do.
I'm happy that you mentioned Boston, only because I feel like the big concern that I have for them is like the last couple of weeks that's gone down with the head coach and this scandal / turmoil. Because like, dude, if you're the Celtics players, might be questioning like, yo, what's going on with that, man? Like, we have something special going on right now. We have a chance to win a title. Like, we're bringing everyone back that matters, and you're still like right now they're still the favorite to win the East from all betting markets, and like you have all your young players that are now grizzled vets too. Like I know Tatum's still a young guy. Like he's on the young players you'd want to build with roster still, but he's been in the league for a minute now, and he's coming off of finals, which if you know anything about Tatum, and I know you do, but I'm saying like just generally speaking, if you know anything about Tatum, he's from that Kobe Bryant mold. Like Kobe took him under his wing. So you know him losing a finals, he's gonna come out guns blazing. And I'm gonna bet him again to win MVP. He's one of the guys that I have circled because he told Embiid at the All-Star break, he's like, yo, enjoy this MVP because it's gonna be your last one. So you know he's coming out guns blazing. But
that's something Kobe would say too.
Yeah, and I think the stuff in the front office that went down with Boston is going to be the biggest storyline. How that's all going to play out, dude, because he was the perfect coach for them. And for Brad Stevens, I know you're a Brad Stevens guy. You were talking about that in the group chat. Like for Brad Stevens to step away and give him the reins, that's a rough look, man. What's happening in Boston?
It is. You feel almost a certain sense of betrayal in the sense that you all bought in, and you know he was a rookie head coach, first year head coach, and he's trying to implement this game plan and this roadmap for you to get to this destination and achieve these goals, and you do that, and you fall just short of it, and you feel so confident now because you had the season you had last year with his first year. So now imagine what you guys could do a second year, maybe third, fourth under a 5-year, a time span you have. And it comes down to him just being inappropriate in the workplace. And it's foolish because you obviously have other, I don't want to say other agendas, but your priorities aren't straight, because your number one priority should be winning and getting back and getting a championship for the city of Boston. It shouldn't be fooling around and, doing whatever else he was doing. So a betrayal in the sense of that, like they feel like, we bought into you, we trusted you, and this is, what you do to us, and now you're out for a year, maybe even longer. If they decide to bring him back, or it's just unfortunate. So yeah, although I do feel strong about them going back to the NBA Finals and winning the East, that's definitely a hiccup that I want to see play out and potentially how they'll overcome it. Because now they're going to have to go through the whole rookie head coach thing again. Yeah, this guy was on the coaching staff, but he wasn't a head coach. I don't think he's ever been a head coach in the NBA ever. This is going to be like his first actual first season being a head coach of a team. So you're going to have to go through all of that again, the growing pains, him not calling a timeout or maybe managing the game a certain way. You have all these players. You got Tatum, Brown, and Marcus Smart that have been around, and like you said, they're young guys, but now they're vets, so they pretty much know what to do. So that coach will be more, I guess, like a babysitter. You're gonna take orders from this guy. You know what I mean? I think those players are gonna be running the team, but you come against a head coach like who's a good example? Like, say they play the Clippers in the finals, and you come across a head coach like Ty Lue. You know how I feel about Ty Lue. I love Ty Lue.
Yep.
Potentially outcoach a rookie coach. You get into those things where it turns into matchups, and it turns into more of like a chess match. And the Celtics obviously won't be favorites in that category or have any type of edge there.
Yeah, man. And, you look at their roster, they kind of made some moves to, I don't want to say win now, but like they went and they got Brogdon. And then I know they got Gallinari, but Gallo got hurt. So he's not, I'm pretty sure he's out for the year, Gallinari. I think he got hurt in the FIBA stuff.
Yeah, he tore his ACL.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was going to say
the Brogdon move. The Brogdon move, though, Lamb, oh my God. Huge for them. Huge. That's another reason why I'm taking them over the Bucks. And Brogdon came from Milwaukee as well, too. So, you got that revenge factor there.
Yeah.
I mean, he went from Milwaukee to Indiana and then Indiana to Boston, but that's where he was playing.
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, bro. I know it was kind of last minute. Can't wait to get you to come out here. You've never been to Vegas, which is an awful take. I would say catastrophic. Because I've been to Vegas. This is my 10th time in Vegas, and ironically enough, my favorite number is 10. My 10th time, I ended up moving here.
Yeah, cool.
But you never tagged along, bro. And you're a D-gen just like I am. You like hitting the tables and getting some bets in. So you got to pull up on me. And then we do a show in the studio.
March is the target. March is the target.
March might be lit, man.
Keep the four seam though, baby. We got baseball coming up. That's the four seam right there.
We got we'll have March Madness.
Little circle change.
We'll have UFC. My birthday. Be a rager.
Yep, that's right. All in March. Yeah, for sure.
Hey man, where can people find you on social media?
Nick Dunbar 718. And on Twitter especially, we're gonna be doing so I want to break down some DFS with you, or maybe just fantasy in general, because I know you don't really dabble in DFS anymore. But I would like to get on and break down a slate, maybe shoot out some lineups and stuff. If we could get something going with that, that'd be pretty cool. I'd be down for that, or even for NBA too. I'll help you out with a lineup. Me and Danny will help you out with a lineup again, and so you don't have to give us credit.
So they gave me a lineup one time, guys. They gave me a lineup. And I entered the lineup, and it did well. Like, I ended up winning money. And then I shouts to my boy Hunter, man, Cleveland God, who I do some DFS streams. He gave me like 2 plays, and I only shouted out the 2 plays he gave me. And Dunbar and Danny were like, bro, 7 of the 9 spots are because of me. Because I won. What ended up happening was I won an NFL. I won a ticket to a huge. It was like the 444 NBA, which I don't even play NFL that big, right? Especially not NBA.
Yeah.
And I asked you guys because you guys are playing that shit every night. Where I kind of was like, "Yo, this ticket is going to be in a couple of weeks. You know, help me put a lineup in." So there's 9 roster spots, and 7 of the 9 were Dunbar and Danny. And then I shouted out my other friend who told me 2 spots, and they're like, "Yo, fuck this kid, man. We're never giving him advice again." But we hit some soccer bets the last 2 days.
I'll always look out though.
Yeah,
it's the least I could do. I'll always look out.
But we hit some soccer bets. That's why you were able to come on the show, man. And I appreciate you, man. Well, I know we'll talk off air.
Anytime, bro.
We'll talk off air. And like I said, I can't wait for you to come out here. Veteransminimum.com is you can find everything for the show. Shout out to Blue Wire. Shout out to my guy Nestor in the studio holding me down as always, making me look fly on the camera. And we'll catch you guys next time on Veterans Minimum.